right, coming off of an open date, certainly we're able to get a lot of work done. Main thing we did was rest, get some rest, and get a lot of treatment in our training room. We practiced last Wednesday and last Thursday, and then we started our schedule, our normal weekly schedule on Sunday. So the kids got a little bit of time off on Friday and Saturday, got to go home a little bit. Our coaches were out on the road recruiting. And that leads up into our Yale game. And certainly this is a game that is out of conference, but there's a lot of interesting facts here that the first time a Southern Conference school is played in the Yale Bowl. We've got a 4-game series with Yale, 21 and 23. They will come here, and then 22 we will go there for our fourth game in that series. You look at Yale on tape, and we've been looking at them now for 2 weeks. They've done an outstanding job with that program. Coach Tony Reno was hired there in 2012, almost the same time we got started here. In a short time, he led them to Ivy League championship. Last year, they were 9-1, and this first outright championship in 37 years for Yale. So that was a big milestone for them. Currently, their record's 2-2. Had a big win a couple weeks over number 16 Maine. They beat Cornell in a close game, lost to Holy Cross in the opener in overtime, and then lost Friday night to Dartmouth, who is currently one of the few FCS teams that are still undefeated. So they've got a really good football team offensively. They're very multiple in what they do. The word I like to use when I watch them is efficient. They do everything efficient. Their quarterback, all starts with a quarterback, Kurt Rawlings. He's 66% when he throws the ball, averaging over 279 yards a game and throwing the ball. Their running back, Zane Dudek, is averaging 92 yards. And their best wide receiver, Reed Klubnik, has 33 catches and 102 yards per game. One of the things they do, they keep the ball from you. They're averaging 34 minutes in time of possession, and they're averaging 440 yards of offense. Like I said, they're efficient in what they do. They're not a hurry up tempo. They just get to the line of scrimmage. They see what you're lined up in. They try to get the right play called. Defensively, I would label them as aggressive. They play a little bit of 4-man front, a little bit of 3-man front. They play some zone. They play a lot of man, and they've been really good on third down. So they're good at getting off the field, getting the ball back for their offense. So it'll be a tremendous challenge for our team. Obviously, the first challenge is this is the first charter flight that we've taken since we've been here at Mercer. So that's going to be a little bit different. We're looking forward to that. And then all of a sudden you throw the hurricane in there that's coming up through here. We got to figure out what we're going to do for practice this week, hopefully in a couple of days. But there's a lot of things going on. But I know our team's excited to get back on the field and play. It's going to be a great trip for us. I think Dominic Woods has done an outstanding job of planning the trip, and we'll go up there and see if we can compete and play a good, solid football game. As I challenged our team this week, we want to be more consistent in what we're doing on offense, defense, special teams. I still don't think we played our best game yet. Our best game to date was probably Samford, but we still left some things out there, and we've got to keep improving each week. And this is a good week to get started. Questions? Well, the bye week was great. As coaches, we got to do a little bit of recruiting. We got a little jump start on Yale, and then obviously we gave our players some time off to get healed up. We had a lot of guys that really don't notice they're on the injury report, but they are on the injury report with some bumps and bruises. So those guys were fresh yesterday at practice. We had a good 2-hour practice yesterday on Sunday, which is abnormal for us because normally that's only about an hour long. So we got a little head start. Well, they're not an option team, but they do control the clock and control the ball. They don't turn it over a whole lot. So offensively, we've got to be efficient. That word kind of flips back to our side. Because I'll go back to the last game at VMI. We had a couple of 3-and-outs that really put us behind the chains and behind our schedule. So we got to stay on schedule. We got to move the chains. We got to control the clock ourselves. So it's going to be a cat and mouse game at which team can move the chains and create big plays for our offense. But they're very difficult to defend, and people in the Ivy League that we've talked to say that year in and year out about this team. Yeah, I mean, it puts pressure on your offense. Anytime you play a team that holds the ball from you, it puts pressure on your offense. But, your defense has got to go out there and try to get them off the field. So defensive, we got to challenge our guys, and we still haven't played our best defensive game yet. We're lacking some players over there, but the ones that have been backing up have gotten a lot of experience now. And so we're getting ready to hit the second half of the season. So it's time for us to start putting games together. And so defense and offense work hand in hand, and when that happens, you end up winning football games. And I go back to the Sanford game. That was a perfect example. We held the ball. Defense didn't have to play a whole lot, and we ended up winning that game. Well, I think it says a lot about our administration. They're willing to think outside the box. When we first started talking about this game, it is pretty cool to play an Ivy League team. You got to understand the Ivies, they only play 10 games and they don't go to the playoffs. So there's not a lot of slots for Ivies to come south and play or for us to go up north and play. So for us to play Yale and to play in the historic Yale Bowl is pretty cool, and I think our kids are looking forward to it. Well, the good news is we practice in the mornings, and Thursday is really a light day for us because Friday's going to be a big travel day. So we got a lot of work yesterday on Sunday. Today's our day off, and then Tuesday morning and Wednesday morning will be heavy practices for us, and hopefully that storm doesn't get here until after Wednesday morning's practice and it gets on through. So I'm not worried about that. The thing I'm worried about is the travel plans and getting out of here. And so we're evaluating that right now, trying to figure out what's the best situation for us to get up there and play. It looks like it's a fast-moving storm, but as everybody knows, over in North Carolina, South Carolina, this thing can be unpredictable. Well, we've already got the plans mapped out to go to Yale, to fly up to Hartford and then drive down to New Haven. And then, all of a sudden yesterday I wake up and I start getting on the internet and they start talking about this storm, and of course it's moving fast and it's forming very quickly. So obviously we came in this morning. That's the first thing on my mind this morning was, we got to have a contingency plan. So we're still dealing with that right now. So it's just extra on me, which is fine. I'm sure the team, half the team probably don't even know we got a storm coming. They just worried about academics and worried about Yale, hopefully. So we'll manage that from our standpoint. But our staff's doing a really good job of putting together a game plan, and me and Dominique and our staff will worry about the plan. Nope, it's a 35-yard kickoff. That's a good question. The Ivy League went to this, I think, 2 years ago, where they had a big study about concussions and how many concussions happen on kickoffs. And so they voted within their league to move the kickoff to the 40, so there'd be less returns, less contact, less chance of concussions. However, when they do play out of conference, because they did play Maine, because that's one of the first things I looked at when I looked down the tape, they do kick from the 35. So that's an out-of-conference rule that will go back to the NCAA rule and kick from the 35. Well, they're a very aggressive defense. They give you some opportunities to run the ball and be successful, but they also give you opportunities to get tackle for losses. So they're very aggressive in what they do on the defensive side of the ball. But it's going to be imperative that we run the ball to be successful. I think if you look at all the games that we've had and we've been able to run the ball, we've been able to have a chance to win. And the other thing is we've got to win the turnover ratio. When we can do that, we're very good as well.
Well, I'm super excited to get back to playing football. Time off was good. Came at a good time to get healthy. We had a few guys banged up. Hopefully we'll get them back this week. But when you're at home, like a lot of us got to go home. I had the itch, I had the fever watching College Game Day on Saturday. I wanted to be out there on the field, so very excited to get back out there. It'll be fun. I got to experience that once at Miami, my previous institution where I played. But talking to the guys down in the locker room, some of them are pretty nervous going into it. One guy actually is contemplating not going. He's gonna come on the trip, but he's like, I can't go. So we're gonna force him on a plane, get him up there, but it'll be interesting for sure.
You giving him a hard time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're a great offense. A lot of dynamic athletes on the field that we've seen on tape. Keeping them off the field is going to be the biggest thing for us, and that's hopefully our offense will be able to get some good drives. The saying, the best defense is a good offense. So keeping those guys off the field as much as possible is going to be key. But I think we stack up well against them. What they do well, I think, pairs up with what we do well. So I think we should have a good opportunity to do well this week. We actually had a recap yesterday at our meeting just about where we're at, how we've stacked up. At meeting our goals, as a defense, we haven't done as well as we had hoped going into the season, but we're looking at the record. We're 3-1 in FCS play, and we haven't played nearly to our potential, and we're getting healthy. So we're ecstatic about getting guys back. We're ecstatic about where this defense is going. We have so much talent, so much potential on this defense that the second half is going to be something special. Yeah, I think it's huge. Definitely to build momentum going into this last stretch. Obviously, you go on the road against a good football team like Yale. You want to get a win because it's going to look good for the FCS playoffs. It's going to look good on our resume. But, I mean, we have a bigger goal in mind. We want to win a championship, and getting this win is going to put us in the right direction and get the mindset right for us going forward.
We're very excited. The bye week was a lot of fun, though. I'm not going to lie. You know, it's good to sleep in, finally get a little bit of rest, and we needed it. We're a little banged up right now, but, yeah, we're excited to get back at it, especially to take a nice little trip to Connecticut. First time we've ever flown in Mercer history. Very excited. Yeah, we got a few. First one that comes to mind is Michael Freeman. I'm pretty sure he said, and this is a quote, "I'd rather take a 20-hour bus ride than a 2-hour plane flight." So I'm excited to see how he reacts to it. It is going to be very important for us. You know, it's kind of a measuring stick to see how we line up against opponents who we aren't used to seeing year in and year out. But like I said, I mean, we're excited. You know, we need to come out and play. We know it's about us. They do a lot of good things, but we're just going to focus on what we do best, and work on that so that we can get right for this ending conference stretch. It's big for us to keep our defense off the field. It's always something we try to do in a lot of games, unless we just see that we can exploit someone's defense, you know, by actually going fast. So we're going to go into the game probably. Coach Pizzo does a great job of understanding the situation, and whatever he calls is what we'll do. But, yeah, that's going to be important for us to try and, you know, have these long drives to hold the ball and make sure the defense is well rested. I think, like I said, the bye week was helpful for us. You know, we got a lot of guys healthy, and just going to come out and play football and worry about what we can do best. It definitely goes by a lot slower. It's a new offense, so it's really just VMI was my first full game, you know, getting all the play calls, and I like it a lot. I feel better. I feel more comfortable, and, you know, my job was just while Robert was playing just to stay ready. You know, you never know what can happen, so I try to do that. And sadly, I mean, he did get hurt, so I was just ready to step in and try to, you know, not drop anything off for the offense. Just to be more of a vocal leader and just try to keep all the guys up, let them know that every time we touch it, we're going to score, we're going to drive down the field, and just make sure that we execute.